You're very forceful.
What?
You're very forceful.
Okay.
Are you going to fall asleep?
No, I'm fine.
No, that was her.
Fine. Getting ready.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. So last week, we went to Florida.
I did.
And that's why you're sick.
Yes. Can I speak to that person?
Can you speak to that? You can speak to that person, but you can't say that person's name.
I can't?
No.
She doesn't want us to?
She said she doesn't care, but
Well, I stayed at a person's house, which I also stayed at last year, and I got sick.
Oh.
And then this time, I took allergy medicine. The best allergy medicine that I've ever found is Advil, allergy, and sinus.
Yes.
So I took it. Took it before I got there, took it while I was there.
But then when we left, she stopped taking it.
It's not like everyday pill. It's like if you have a problem, you take this medicine. And then I got home. And I sounded like Phoebe when she was sick. Yeah, she had a cat. Is it a boy cat or a girl cat? The one that she has 3.
Yes.
The one-eyed Willie.
Oh, yeah.
Is it a boy cat?
I don't know.
Okay, so we'll say they, them. They, them was very friendly with me. Sat right here.
Yeah.
Next to my nose orifices, and pretty sure it tried to murder me. It's an assassin. It's an assassin cat. So this is a week now of this right here. So I will not be going. I don't think I can go back there for any length of time, like maybe a couple hours, and then I will have to leave.
So you're like one of those people that say, "Oh, I can't come over because of your animal."
Yeah.
You're that person.
But I mean, it's proof. I mean, it's not just a little, I'm sniffly.
Yeah, you're full on sick.
I have phlegm inside of me that looks like it's an alien children. And my voice is this.
Do you feel poorly?
After I feel like I constantly have to be clearing. And sometimes it just is not coming up. But my body wants it to. And then after a while, it does take a toll, especially on it's mostly on this side of my throat. It would just hurt.
I don't think it was the animals. I think it was the heat.
I lived in Florida for 48 years. I think it's the heat. I think it's the little
I feel allergic to the heat of Florida. I am so glad we're back.
You don't have baby phlegm inside of you, and your voice is normal.
That's true.
So,
but going back to Florida, as soon as I got there, I felt like I got slapped in the face with the humidity and the heat. And I was like, oh, thank goodness I don't live here anymore. And everybody kept asking me all week, do you miss it? Do you miss it? Nope, sure as hell don't. And then this week when I was doing yard work.
Here in Colorado.
Yeah, here in Colorado, your father said something about being hard. I said, no. I am just so happy I'm doing this yard work and I'm not sweating balls. Because just walking outside in Florida, I was sweating balls. So
I didn't notice it as much when I went back the previous year.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I could tell there was a difference. But this year, it was we were in a building, and I'm like, I can feel it in the building.
The humidity.
It was a constant dew.
Yeah,
that's what it felt like. I was constantly dewy, and I did not like it.
Well, when I first moved, the first time we moved to Florida, I moved to Florida. It took about a year. Maybe it was 6 months. It felt like a year, right? Where I would just sit there and I did not have to be doing any physical activity. Yeah. And I did not weigh this, right? I weighed less.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even that. I did not have to do any physical activity to sweat. My first year. It took about a year for me to get used to the humidity. My skin misses the humidity.
Yes.
Me as a person of a certain age does not miss the heat.
That's right. Welcome back to the Unlikely Podcasters. I'm Sunshine.
I'm Susanna.
I'm Tara.
It's Tara.
Oh, I have 0 minutes.
Oh, fuck balls. Don't say we got to do that all over.
Oh, no. Hold on. It's recording. Please hold.
So speaking of why we were in Florida, we were there for one of my work events. And I got there early. Got to hang out a little bit with my friend. And then you came in on Thursday.
Yeah, I did.
And so today we're going to talk about work relationships. And essentially, that's how we all met. Like I met you at work and we met you at work.
Yep.
And we spend most of our time during the day working. People that work. Some people don't work. Susanna don't.
Wow. Listen.
She's so rude.
Your jealousy right now is out of control. You need to dial this shit back.
Love to not work.
100%.
I imagine it. It was so great.
Yeah.
It's been nice, I ain't gonna lie. So let me rub it in now since you brought it up.
Oh, we know. I know.
But we spend, majority of our day, 8 to 10, sometimes 12 hours a day at work. And so, of course, you're going to form relationships. Although there are some people that totally separate church and state. Yeah. They do not commingle. They're full on business at work. And they don't fraternize. Fraternize. It's not fraternize.
It's fraternize. You can fraternize.
Maybe in some parts of the country it's fraternize.
They do not fraternize outside of work. But I also think if you form relationships at work, you do your work better. Especially if you have to partner with other people.
I guess.
Positive relationships, sure. Yeah, I think that could help you.
In my current career, I have had a lot of partners. And so I work better when I get along with that partner. We are more productive in general. If I am not getting along with somebody, I think it will hurt my production.
Yeah. I could see that.
Yeah.
It's very counterproductive because then you're spending energy on stuff that, or trying to navigate a situation or navigate a person or an attitude. And you have to put in extra steps to try to mitigate any backlash or any fallout because you're dealing with, whatever that personality type is. So now you have to take all those extra steps to still try to move forward in your job. And that's very taxing.
I mean, yeah, you can write an email and you write it 7 times to make sure that you're not triggering anything from that person.
Or they're not going to misconstrue it in any way. Yes.
100%.
Tara doesn't have those problems. She's like, I don't know what you people are talking about.
I'm a solo.
You're a solo.
I'm a solo.
You're a solo. What does that even mean?
That means that it doesn't affect my job.
Well, you don't need to partner with anybody. No. You do your sessions and then move on about your day.
Once I'm in session, it's all on me. It doesn't matter what they're doing.
You have to partner with the people actually doing the session, though.
Yeah, but
do you get repeat offenders?
What does that mean?
Do you have the same people come back and do multiple sessions? Right? Yeah, because you said you...
Like clients? Yeah, but I have no control over my clients, and they're not my partner. And the talent is a person, they're their own person too. So
I can only do... Anyway.
What?
You're their bitch anyway. You got to do what the client says anyway.
That is correct, yes. So, yeah. But and whether they have their act together or not doesn't affect me or how I do my job. I mean, it does, but it doesn't affect the quality of what I do.
Have you ever stopped yourself from fraternizing?
No.
Never. You just were friendly or not. Unless you thought that person was a dick, then you just stayed away from him.
Yeah. Not because of work. Like, I don't think we should mingle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you?
I don't think so.
What about employees, though? You had quite a bit of employees. Did you act the same or? I
never purposefully set myself apart. That was just the dynamic of the relationship. I was the boss. They were. And so there was this, not that if they said, hey, come to this or come to, I don't think I would have ever said, no, I won't. Maybe, but again, I didn't work in a sensitive type environment either. Yes, it was accounting/finance and it's food and beverage. So I'll contend that it's a more relaxed environment. I did have to navigate people crossing certain lines, moving people around. That was part, if we discovered
so-and-so was dating so-and-so.
Yeah, and if someone was in a supervisory position to that person, we had to navigate, what does that look like?
Right.
Especially if there was money being handled. It's okay, well, this person can't have any interaction with this person while they're working with money, especially if it was in a supervisory role and that other person would have to do maybe voids or edit their sales in any way. So we were okay, well, they have to work different shifts or they have to work in a different restaurant altogether. But they tried. like several times, I think, within the company to say we couldn't date within the company. They would try to do that, but it was impossible. I mean, we had in our corporate office alone, in the higher tiers, we had people that were either dating or married. We had an entire family that worked at the corporate office. I'm like, so it was never going to be able to trickle down because it was already at the top.
Like I said, you spend most of your time at work, and so you end up forming these relationships, and then I usually
you're just
keep
involved. You're more involved in general, like my friend from work, and she'll say, "Oh, I'll say, oh, he's going on vacation. Where's he going? Oh, I don't know."
Why wouldn't you ask, hey, where are you going?
It was just, that's not our way. Mm-hmm. But where are you going, and who are you going to go with, and what are you going to do, and how long are you going to be there? And for me, I'm going, oh, okay, cool.
But when you tell them you're going on vacation, do they ask you, oh, where are you going?
Well, I mean, for vacation, we probably did, but it was like, oh, well, he's off today. Well, why is he off today? I don't know, as where she would be like, oh, what are you doing? Yeah. Where were you? What are you doing?
Mm-hmm. See, I think I'm somewhere in the middle. Like you ask a little more questions. Yeah, Tara doesn't probably ask it. I'm somewhere like, sometimes I remember to, sometimes I don't remember to. Sometimes I'll be all up in your business, and sometimes I'm not. I'm like, oh shit, I forgot. How insensitive or how whatever of me, right? I go back, I'm like, shit, I didn't even ask how her. And sometimes it could be something like I knew maybe a spouse was sick or something.
Right.
Nothing serious, but then I'm like, oh, I forgot to ask.
Yep.
I'm like, oh, damn it, I'm an asshole.
Well, if I knew, like there was a point where he was doing something with his daughter, and if I knew that's where he was going, I would ask. But sometimes he would just be off, and I didn't know why he was off. I didn't know what he was doing, and I didn't feel the need to, get a rundown of his day.
It's definitely a personality thing, because for all intents and purposes, he is your best friend.
I know you say that.
I do say that. You are her best friend. But you don't ask I think I ask him more questions than you do.
Probably sure that you do. Depending on the topic. I mean, we've gotten into I've asked him some pretty personal questions. But on the regular, I'm thinking you'd be way more into things, yeah.
Well, he's a talkative guy, too. He likes to talk about things.
Most of the time.
You're just a weirdo.
Okay, but it wasn't just me. It went both ways. And then the other fella there, he's even worse.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on? You didn't get a word. Just go,
get a grunt.
So I think that was just the dynamic that we had.
Well, then you also have work in general, not you, but in general, you have work relationships where they're just a work relationship. Mm-hmm. It is, but it doesn't mean that they're less of a friend per se, because there are sometimes, like, let's say you and we just had a fight and I go into work. People can see it on my face. And so sometimes you end up saying things to somebody that you might not spend a lot of time with them outside of work, but they're still your friend at work.
Yeah.
Some people view that as like they're a lesser friend per se. But then you could still have a good relationship with somebody that you...
And I understand that.
Base that around work.
Because there was a female who worked and she left. And she talked about a lot of personal things, more so than I did, because she had a lot more going on than I did. But she left, and we don't really keep in contact. But if I were to go where she lives, I would totally call her up, and if she needed something, I would help her. And if we did talk, we would still have that, but it just did not continue on. Mm-hmm. And even who you say is my best friend, I mean, it's not like we're chit-chatting.
But you do ever since...
Every once in a while. I mean, I could go a month and not talk to him.
Yeah.
And that would be totally normal. Yeah. No big deal.
But when you do talk, it's not a 5-minute conversation.
True. But I think that those are still different than, especially the female who I can't say her name. You have a way different relationship than just an at-work relationship. Yes. It goes way beyond that. Yes. So there is difference of, I have a good, close work time relationship as opposed to it expanding beyond that.
Yeah.
But sometimes too, it's even if you want to carry those relationships out there, that's you may want to, they don't want to, or their lives are very full and they only make time for you at work. Mm-hmm. And you don't realize that until you leave.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Because I've left or I've had people leave, and I've tried to keep the contact and keep the friendship going.
Yeah.
And at some point, it just falls to the wayside. Your lifestyle, your value, everything else maybe doesn't mesh outside of work. And it's just, and also, I think it creates this unique set of circumstances where you could be friends, but otherwise you wouldn't be.
If you don't live in the same state.
Yeah.
The female that I was talking about, she doesn't live in the same state. So it's not like we would ever get together and hang out. And I think if we still lived in Florida, we would probably see those people more.
Yeah.
But now it's having a party. You gotta hop on a plane, come to it.
Well, they're just full of excuses. They need to hop on the plane
exactly,
and get their
losers.
asses here.
Exactly.
You can stay in the basement for free.
So what about work wives and work husbands, or work spouses?
What about them?
Do you ever think that I have had any?
Yes.
Where? When?
Obviously, Jason was your work husband.
Obviously.
You were his work wife. Just ask his wife, his real wife.
Well, we're still friends outside of. He's no longer my. Would you still consider, because we don't work together?
But you still work for the same company. And you still talk about work-related items, do you not?
Yeah.
Like, he'll call you about work.
Yeah.
So technically, you are still his work wife. Do you not? You don't think so? Have you
divorced
divorced him?
No, I've not divorced him. But
Okay.
Have you supplanted him?
I'm a polygamist when it comes to work.
Oh, I know.
I'm a work polygamist.
Cheater.
The further I move up in a position or at an organization, I feel like I need to be able to trust the people around me. And so that brings me to like employees versus leaders. I do draw somewhat of a line with my employees. However, I'm still authentic and truthful as much as I can be. But the relationships aren't exactly the same as that I make or put work into my peers. And I feel like I do need to trust somebody so I can bitch about things that go on at work and not have any repercussions. Or if it was an employee, I couldn't do that, because then I could bitch about something and they'd think that that's how I view a situation. And that's not necessarily true either. I just might be mad in that moment and I just need to get it out. And I can't come to you two bitches because you have no idea what I'm talking about. You have no idea what I'm talking about. You get more of a gist of where I'm coming from most of the times because you come from the corporate world, whereas you do not. Tara does not, and Susanna does. But you still don't get all the details. And so I do form there. I have a person in each position that I'm in that I can be fully authentic and trust them, and they can trust me.
Purposeful, I think, because we've talked about this before, and you've indicated that you didn't initially realize that that's what you were doing.
Yes.
But now you are purposeful in seeking out a person that you can ally with, for lack of a better word. That can be your ally that you can vent to, and that has your back and you've got their back to talk about work things without the repercussions of, hey.
Yeah, hold it against me for whatever I might be mad about in that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't know that's what I was doing, but I stepped back and said, this is exactly what I'm doing. So with the last position before this one, I just flat out told the person, look, I need a person. You seem cool. I'm cool. You want to be people? Let's be people. and she was on board. She's like, yep, I got you. I said, okay, I got you. And for the most part, we've been true to that. There's been a couple things where I'm like, I'm questioning it. But at the end of the day, she's still, she was my work wife in that position. Because, I feel like that I need that in my work world. Because I can't get it from you two hookers.
Well, it's because we work in different, even at a simplest form, like with Excel. And we're talking much broader topics and much bigger frustrations within a corporation. But like, let's just say I was struggling with something in Excel and I finally figured it out. If I told Tara, she could give two shits.
Yes, 100%.
She's like, great for you. You would probably be like, oh, well, what was it? And you might because you work with Excel more. So if I finally figured out something that's plaguing me for like a freaking week, I could say, I got it. But again, even you wouldn't be as excited. But my friend Anthony at work, he would be like, "You did? How did it go? How did you do it? Send it to me." You know,
Yeah.
there's a level of understanding.
I did not know Excel was so exciting.
Listen,
I'm on the edge of my seat to figure out what Susanna figured out.
it is exciting.
Once you figure out something that's going to make your life easier going forward, you're like, "Oh, yes."
Yes. When I figured out how to do pivot tables and VLOOKUPs, I was like, this is the best thing ever.
I can't take a pivot table. My heart is pounding. Woo! I'm about to pass out from the excitement of a pivot table.
Listen.
Pivot.
There are Mark and I stumbled upon YouTube. It's like a little side note. We'll go back on topic. There are Excel competitions.
Oh my.
There is a world championship
Holy
of
monkey.
Excel. And they give them like these.
Listen, that's too much. To me,
This is
that's
kinda
like
funny.
a laundry folding competition. There's just a point where you go
Listen,
too
there's
far.
some people that are pretty talented with folding laundry.
Yeah,
I've seen them.
it, but you don't need to have a competition about it. Just stop.
Panicky.
So what about affairs?
I like them.
Oh, you mother shitter. You better not. Plenty of stuff that goes on.
There is.
Well, I think the larger the company, the more chances you have for affairs, especially if you're traveling.
Oh, absolutely. There was a lot of that going on when I worked because we traveled a lot. We had a lot of meetings, and you would always see people leaving the bar that you were like, isn't that person married?
But even some organizations they don't want you even to be friends.
Yeah,
They don't want you to hang out outside of work with these people
at all.
at all.
Forget romantic relationships. They
Right.
don't want any.
Right.
That's unrealistic.
I just think it happens, and I think it's unrealistic to expect that it won't happen at all.
I think it would be okay to try to discourage it, but I think if it happens, you could at least have a plan in place to work around it.
And then there's times where you have to navigate those sons of puppies at the job. Where
Sons of puppies.
you
Sons of
just don't
puppies.
get along.
Oh, I was making sure I heard that right.
Yes.
Sons of puppies.
Those people that you just...
No matter what you do.
No matter what you do. And
You're never
you
gonna.
feel like they're out to get you. Like they're trying to trip you up every chance that they get. Some of that I think you put on yourself. You already know that you don't get along with this person. And so everything that they do, you question everything that they do. Are they doing this out of malice? Or is it just happenstance? It's something, these two things might have aligned or whatever.
I think there's just a lot to navigate. Like we navigated a lot of things while we worked together. We also had a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I watched you on a video. Oh, it was hilarious.
Over and over and over again.
Yeah, and she showed it to everybody in the office.
It was the best.
It was not the best.
I tried to pee my pants that day.
For the listener out there, I worked in the cash room where people would cash out their banks.
And I was in the office, and we had a camera into the
cash
money
room.
In the cash room, yes.
And my lazy ass did not want to get up from my chair. So I had
To press the button to open the door.
Right. And I had wheels on the chair. So I would roll myself from one end to the table to the other. And because it was a cash room, you had to unlock the door to let people in. And so I'm rolling
Leaning
and
over.
stretching.
And stretching and stretching.
And then we just fell.
And I happened to look up, and
Yeah,
I'm like,
because it's not
what
like they're
is she
watching
doing?
it. They're not watching it the whole time. But she just happened to look up in the right moment. And
And she's leaning and leaning. I'm like, why isn't she just moving over? And next thing you know, bam. And
then she's laughing.
I
And then
was.
she tells everybody in the freaking office.
And then I
Come
rewind
over,
the tape.
come over here.
Here,
go
let me
watch this.
rewind it for you.
This bitch rewound it and replayed it. And to this day, and that was what, 25 years ago? And she's still laughing her ass off.
That shit was comedic gold. Still is. If I had that video,
When you have friends like this, when you have family like this, why do you even need enemies?
oh please, you still talk about the time I fell in Universal Studios.
That was great. It was fantastic. So anyways, for those out there, let us know what you think. If you agree, disagree. Do you have relationships? For us, it's worked in our favor. 90%
so far.
Have you been taking out my candy words? I can't recall
Your
if they're
candy
there.
words?
Yeah, when I lollipops, tutti fruities, Tootsie Rolls.
They're in there.
Oh, they
Oh,
are?
they're in
Okay.
there.
All right, well, they're lollipops. Come back and see us. Like, share with your friends.
Come back.
Come back. Come back to see us or listen to us. Peace out, bitches.
Adios.
Bye.